Okay, let's unpack this. We're doing a deep dive today into flirty texting, specifically looking at this one piece of advice, about sending a bold text to, well, get someone thinking about you.
Hmm.
So our mission really is to get the strategy behind this message and figure out what kinds of responses you might actually get.
Yeah, and what's interesting is the problem it's trying to solve. It's that tricky situation, isn't it?
Totally.
Wanting to move past just being friends, show some romantic interest maybe,
Uh-huh.
but without seeming desperate or risking a flat-out rejection.
Exactly. You want them to see you differently, like the source material says, but subtly.
Right.
So what is this text, the one we're dissecting?
Okay, the text is, I had a dream about you. I'm not telling you what happened,
Mm.
but I woke up smiling.
Okay. Let's really get into why that specific wording might actually work.
Well, I think the effectiveness is layered. First, just saying, I had a dream about you, that immediately makes it personal, right?
Yeah, definitely more than just a, hey.
It hints at something beyond just, platonic thoughts. It kind of plays on our desire to feel a bit special, knowing we were on someone's mind, even subconsciously.
Okay, so it's direct but also intriguing. And then the next bit, I'm not telling you what happened. That feels crucial.
That's the mystery element. It leverages curiosity. By holding back the details, you create this little information gap.
A gap they want to fill.
Precisely. We're sort of wired to want answers, to complete the picture, and leaving it vague, but then adding, but I woke up smiling.
Ah, right. That steers it.
It steers it towards something positive. It encourages them to imagine good things, maybe even romantic things, without you having to spell it out.
So it lowers the stakes, makes it less awkward because you're not being super explicit.
Exactly. Suggests a nice dream, possibly involving them, but keeps it light and avoids being too forward.
Okay, so you send this text. What happens next? What kind of reactions are we looking at, according to the source?
Well, it suggests sort of two main paths. If the person is already interested, even a little bit, this text can act like a spark.
How so?
The mystery, the intrigue, it'll likely make them curious. They'll want to know more, which ideally leads to more conversation.
So they might ask about the dream. Or joke back.
Yeah, exactly. They might ask or tease you about it, or maybe even share something similar. Any kind of engagement like that is a pretty good sign,
Yeah.
showing they're interested and willing to play along.
Okay, that makes sense. But what if they're just not interested?
Right. Well, the source points out that silence can also be an answer,
A clear one.
a very clear one. It's maybe not what you want, but getting no response gives you clarity pretty quickly. Lets you know where you stand without dragging it out.
So there's value even in the silence.
That's what the source seems to argue. It says this approach makes it interesting because it tends to get some kind of reaction, even if it's just nothing. And that nothing is still information. It cuts down the ambiguity.
Might save you some energy down the line.
Could do, yeah. Avoids you investing more in something that isn't going anywhere.
So for you listening, the main takeaway isn't really about this being some magic text that guarantees success. It's more about understanding the strategy here. It's
Right.
one way, kind of concise and intriguing, to add that flirty vibe and just, well, test the waters. See how interested someone might be.
Yeah, the key really is that balance. Suggestion, but holding back just enough information. Creating curiosity and then watching the response.
Yeah.
That response tells you a lot.
It puts the ball in their court, in a way.
It does. And zooming out a bit, it just shows how powerful subtle suggestion and a bit of mystery can be, especially early on in romantic situations. It's about creating that little moment of, what's this about? And seeing if they lean in.
Right. So maybe think about that in your own interactions. How could you use that idea suggestion mixed with curiosity to spark something or just to get a clearer read on someone?
It's about making them wonder, isn't it?
Yeah. And in that wondering, maybe they reveal a little something about how they feel, too. Something to think about.